What's up again, everybody? We are going to round this out with cards that you may not have tried in this entire X-Men set. Everything from X-Men Forever to both of the team packs. These are cards you may not have messed with. Some of these were in our previous lists. Some of them are brand new to these three lists that we're talking about. And I will let Ben start us off first with his number 5 of cards you may not have tried, but you should definitely give a shot.
Yeah, so when I was putting together this list, I was just about cards I kind of want to try. I don't know how you put this together, but I was just like, yeah, what have I not given enough attention to? And this one kind of is number 5 because I'm very tentative about how good it is, mainly because I'm not sure that the keyword it works off is that great so far, and that is Dark Beast. Mad Scientist is 2-cost fist. When active, when a character die you control uses Corrupt, draw and roll a die. I like this, as I discussed on our overrated launch list. Corrupt has weird triggers and weird timing mechanisms, but I like the fact that this card brings that kind of, hey, let's make a corrupt team. Let's try and work with the cards we have, and how does that make it good? And this is kind of a ramp and churn mechanic, and it's a 2-cost, good stats, 2 affiliations. I don't know, I like to try a corrupt team. I wish there were better corrupt cards so that I could put this on a team.
Totally agree. That's an interesting card, and I actually have that a little further down on my list, not in my top 5, but definitely something that I'm interested in as well. My number 5 is a card that you actually played, and I watched you play it against me, and I thought that was really cool. Why did I not think about how cool this is? This is Black Tom Cassidy, Plans in Motion. It's a 4-cost bolt character, double affiliated with the villains. We got fast on the card, so the keyword fast, basically it gets to deal its combat damage before anyone that is blocking it, or if it's blocking, which is pretty sweet. And it's also got call out. So it can pick a die. When it attacks, it can pick a die, and only that die can block it. No other gang up blocks, just that one. So this is a weird version of the Mimic that we talked about on the underrated list of the flying, blasting, and slashing. This is like a strange version of that, because whereas that one just rolls and KOs whatever it wants and then re-rolls, this one sticks around in the field, calls out whatever you want to remove, and then likely just deals damage based on its high attack stat and removes it, which is, I just think, is super cool. And the fact that they put it together in this way of fast call out on a body that's a 3, 4, and 5 and attack with low defense stats is just really coolly designed. And so this is one that I want to put on a team and use, maybe in like a limited format, just to have some sort of a removal option.
Yeah, I think there's been a bunch of historically, there's been a bunch of 4-cost removal pieces. There's kind of been 4-cost Intimidate has been kind of the standard without any kind of stipulations. There's like a couple of Venoms where when you field it, you like steal a villain. So stuff like that. And I think Mimic and Black Tom Cassidy is them finally getting that kind of 4-cost removal tool right. This card gives you plenty of flexibility with how you want to run it. And just a good statted attacking character. I highly recommend buying a couple of them and just kind of working on how do these cards kind of manipulate the board and trying them out. It's a really good piece. Yeah, so we're kind of talking about removal tools at a 4-cost. And this is another removal tool at a 4-cost, which is Psylocke, Master Telepathic Combatant. The 4-cost mask, when Psylocke attacks, you may KO the lowest purchase cost opposing character die. On the face of it, I think this is not that strong, but I was thinking about the fact that kind of we have a bunch of ways to do damage to low statted characters, right? We have a bunch of ways to clear sidekicks out. We have stuff like Gold Dragon, which can do Breath Weapon 3 across the board. And I think we have a lot of kind of targeted damage removal and when fielded removal, but this is kind of the only one where it's triggered when you attack. Difficult to kind of manipulate, but I think it's interesting. If you can manipulate your opponent's board, especially if you can clear out sidekicks, then this could be really effective, because stuff like Shriek is 3-cost. And on a collect team, then I don't know, 3-cost is probably what you're looking at to remove and you want to remove, right? A Shriek team, A Shriek is what you want to remove. So I don't think it's that far away from being really useful. I just think it's an individualistic trigger. If you could get a bunch of them out as well and attack with a bunch of them, then you're carrying a bunch of different things. So
my number 4 is an interesting one that I have sitting very close to me and still haven't put a team together for, but I really am interested in it. This is Emma Frost, Mental Mistress, a 4-cost shield character, X-Men affiliated, which is important. She says, while Emma Frost is active, when an opponent declares a character die as an attacker or blocker, they may not attack or block with any other copy of that die this turn, including sidekick dice. And that part's really important. There are a lot of teams that like to purchase like 2 ofs or 3 ofs or whatever in casual and semi-competitive play, and things that like to like buff a sidekick by a couple and then push that. Like for example, that Batman that buffs sidekicks by +2 attack, and then you can push sidekicks. Things like that this just totally stops. And this is ridiculous in draft. We watched it happen where this was just sitting in the field. It was literally this and a couple of sidekicks, and the opponent in draft, who had purchased like 4 of everything, I think he had almost purchased every die he owned, and he just couldn't really get through because he could only attack with 1 copy of each of those fielded character dice. And he's just sitting there twiddling his thumbs while the guy who had Emma Frost just did his thing. And just the fact that this is that interesting of a control tool makes me want to just put it on teams and run it just to see what happens.
Okay, number 3. For me is Domino, not the one you're thinking of. It's not all luck. While active, when you roll a die on a double energy face, deal 1 damage to target opposing character die. So this is a little bit similar to the Dark Beast thing, and I'm just interested in actually building a team around this and using the energize keyword as kind of like, how can we manipulate this? And how can we make this really work? And this is kind of again, it's kind of a removal piece, which kind of works in a different time, which is interesting. And I don't know, if you can roll a bunch of characters on energy face, stuff like Swarm maybe, that you kind of want to roll them on energy faces. I don't know. I'm interested in this.
No, I agree. I think there's some interesting ideas. Now, this does work if you roll an action die on the 2 generic, right? Does that count?
I guess so. Yeah.
That's the question. If it counts, then I'm definitely interested. If it does not count, then it's like, because I don't like missing character faces. That's the biggest thing. The only upside right now for missing character faces in the entire game is basically energize or using the energy for like a pump global or something. And so if you're not building exactly around this, it's like a meh. But the idea is there, definitely. All right, my number 3 is a card that you had on your overrated list, which makes me worried to put it on my cards you may not have tried but you should list. But I'm going to try it anyway. And that's Blob Frederick Dukes. It's a 3-cost shield character. It's got Intimidate, and it says Blob may use Intimidate on sidekick character dice, and his Intimidate ability affects all opposing sidekick character dice instead of just affecting 1. It says Blob gets +1 attack until the end of the turn for each sidekick character die affected by his Intimidate ability, which when you talked about your pick on this, you mentioned the fact that because he gets that buff to the attack, you can't quite like stat flip him then and, do all that stuff. And so, yeah, I totally get that. That does definitely make things awkward. But I like the idea in a sort of a casual sense, because I don't think it's super duper competitive, of still putting this on a stat flip team and buying a ton of them, like buying 3 of these and just sort of like rolling them out there and then throwing them at my opponent over and over and over again. And yeah, they take their sidekicks and, like it probably chump blocks one thing, but if I take all their sidekicks, the thing that's in the field that's going to block it is going to be something they generally purchased and then wanted to put in the field. And so at the very least, I'm KOing something by stat flipping one of these blobs or both of these blobs. And at the best case scenario, I'm just pushing a bunch of damage. So in that sense, I like it and I want to give it a shot. All right, what is your number 2? We're down to the last 2. What's your number 2?
Yeah, my number 2, I really like my number 2. And I'm really, really sad that I haven't used it yet. Donald Pierce. Better, faster, stronger. When fielded, deal X damage to target opposing character die, where X is the number of fist energy in your reserve pool. Can I just read my favorite part about this card? It's the fielding cost and the stats. 042, 153, 165. I don't know. And the dice looks really cool as well. I don't know. I really like the idea of this card. I want to know how I can make it good. I don't know if I can make it good. I don't know what reason I need for a bunch of fists in my reserve pool, which is kind of my problem so far. But I'm kind of thinking about doing this. And then like there's an Iron Fist where you can pay a bunch of fists to clear something. So you can kind of, I don't know, maybe there's a fist team out there somewhere. And like there's a fist pump global. So you can kind of attack with this.
There definitely is.
Pump up. And then, I don't know, where's the spark that makes this card good? I haven't found it yet. But maybe you should try this card out and find it.
Well, the last time you said that, was about Thunderbird. So it's
Yeah,
possible
and
that
that's kind of what I want to do with this list, right? I want to kind of be like, these are cards people should try because maybe there's something in there. There's something in the back of my mind which tells me, oh, this card might be good.
Yep. And well, you called it with Thunderbird. At least that one has some playability, some utility there, you know. And so this one is possible. No, it totally gave me the Iron Fist vibes when I first read it. The one that I think you pay when you attack. You can pay any number of fists to deal X number of damage. Yeah, this one gives me that vibe as well. So this one has playability.
And you don't have to spend the fists, which is really exciting as well.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I guess I don't know if maybe if it was a 4 and you could buy like a couple of these and get them in rotation at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it works with Clayface Kree Captain. You could maybe get a few of them. All right. My number 2 is one I'm also super pumped about because I've used it so many times, and I think this one could have made the underrated like list easily. It was like hanging out there on 6. I think the other ones beat this one out barely because this is one that like people look at and go, meh, and then you just slap it on the field and it goes, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Now we got problems. This is Beast Piercer. It is a 2-cost mask. A 2-cost mask that has a decent stat line of a 1-2, a 2-3, and a 2-4. You only have to pay 1 to field it ever. And it says Beast can only be blocked by 2 or more character dice. And again, I probably just read that to you and you went, meh. But there are things in this set that buff X-Men character dice. Like, for example, the 5-cost Bolt Cyclops that gives all of the X-Men character dice +1/+1 and cost 1 less to purchase. So all of a sudden these are all 1s, which are pretty sweet. Now, if you go even further down the rabbit hole and before buying that 5-cost Cyclops, if you first bring in a Hope Summers and copy that Cyclops, and they get the buff, the 1/1 buff, and then you buy a Cyclops, then they get a 2/2 buff, and you're looking at a bunch of 1-cost characters that are 4/6s. And I've played this several times. It's just really uncomfortable to deal with for your opponent because you can just push with a lot of your X-Men characters, and these ones just basically most of the time can't be blocked. They just become unblockable because your opponent has to think, well, am I going to block one character with 2 things or 2 other characters with 1 thing? And if you have 2 of these in the field, then they're almost always both going through. And that team is decently competitive when it comes to like casual semi-competitive play because all of those characters are easy to get. Yeah, this card's solid. It's like a win condition, but no one sees it as a win condition. It's a great card.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think the thing is that ability can only be blocked by 2 or more character dice. We've seen a bunch, but we've never seen it for that price. It's kind of like I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. But you know, when TVs first came out and everyone was like, oh, no one's ever going to have a TV because they're way too expensive. But they get to a point where they're just at the right price and everyone wants to buy them and everyone has them in every house. Is that a good analogy? I don't know.
That's a really great analogy. I was highly impressed by how good. No, seriously, that was a great analogy.
But yeah, I don't know. This may be where, and stat flip again. I don't know. Maybe that 4/2. But I like the idea of a 6/4 or a 4/6.
Yeah, for
That's
1.
like Firestorm character coming at you for 1. Yeah.
It's great. And I played it completely in set, which is the beauty of it too, because that's a 3-card combo all found in 1 box. So go WizKids for building a box that is totally playable out of the box. Are you ready for our number 1 picks? What is your number 1 pick, Ben?
Yeah, Mystique, the 3-cost mask, Brotherhood of Her Own. I'm excited by this card, actually. Mystique gets +2 attack and +2 defense for each different active non-Mystique character. And this is actually a new edition. I kind of read this card yesterday, maybe. I was like, you know what? Actually, there are a whole bunch of Brotherhood of Mutant cards. And you can get this easily while you're being really control-y up to, you know, a 5/5 for 3. Easily, if not a 7/7, you know. So you get Blob out there, you get Scarlet Witch out there.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's a 5/5.
And it's 5/5. I don't know. There's something in that for me. Brotherhood of Mutants might be underrated as a affiliation. And I think this could be the piece that pushes it over the edge. You still need a way to get it through, which might be the problem. But because it's a masked character, there's stuff like Under Surveillance, or the 2-cost one from Iron Man War Machine that makes masked characters unblockable.
Yep.
But I don't know. This could be really good. So I would like someone to build a Brotherhood of Mutant team and see how good it can be.
All right. My number 1 card was a card I listed in my underrated list. And it's one that if you haven't played with it, then you just need to sit down, put a team around it, because there's a lot of synergies with the particularly with the energy type that it's pushing. This is Jubilee, Jubilation Lee, 3-cost bolt character. When she attacks, she deals 1 to your opponent for each other attacking bolt character die. And I think people saw this and went, man, this is a great pairing with Firefly from the Batman set. It's a good thing Firefly is still modern. And yeah, it is a great thing that Firefly is still modern. And yeah, they're both 3-cost bolts, which is easy to grab a bunch of them up for. And this one just... there oftentimes when you were running that team, you would field the Firefly and you were like, oh man, now I gotta get this out of the field so I can field it again. Well, now you can consider it good either if you get it out of the field by pushing with it, or keep it in the field, because it's just gonna accrue damage no matter how you slice it with this Jubilee. I sat down with this exact team in mind and kind of came up with a brew for how I wanted to deal a bunch of burn damage with just bolt characters, and it is surprisingly easy to build that kind of a team because there are so many good bolt characters that you could just tag alongside of this. So I highly recommend somebody sit down and come up with your own bolt burn team using something like Jubilation Lee and Firefly, because it is awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about this card actually. Kind of want to buy enough team packs so I can have max 5 dice and just attack with all 5 at some point.
Well, all you got to do is buy 1 more campaign box.
But stuff like, especially with like Techno Global, where you can make bolts on demand. I don't know, maybe Kitty Pryde, Field Kitty Pryde, Techno out a bunch of bolts, buy all 5 of them.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of ways to do
Not
things
that
exactly
hard.
like that. No. You know it's good if Ben says,
I'm down to try this card.
I think this speaks volumes of this set, because I think there's a lot of these cards that could fit in this. Cards you may not have tried yet, but should. This set was definitely one of those sneaky, like, kind of brewing sets. It's one of those that it really rewards you from sitting back and going, what can I do with this, and what can I do with that? So let us know in a comment below. What do you think about our picks for the top 10 cards you should try if you have not yet? Let us know what your top 5 would be. Thanks to Ben for coming, hanging out, and talking about this. This was all Ben's idea, so blame him if this content is horrible.
Yeah, mostly me, yes.
As always, thanks for watching.